You know, as educators, we get to see something pretty amazing every single day. We watch adult learners have these breakthrough moments, not just learning a new skill, but finding a whole new level of confidence. That progress is so real and so powerful, but way too often, it's completely invisible to the outside world.
Right. And think about that. What if that massive leap forward, that new skill they work so hard for, just kind of disappears the second they leave your classroom? Because honestly, without a common language to describe that growth, that's pretty much what happens.
You know, think of Maria, who's finally gotten the hang of the software she needs for a better job. Or Ahmed, who, after weeks of being quiet, starts leading discussions in a workshop. They feel it, you see it. But how on earth do they explain that achievement to a new employer or another school?
So that's the problem. And this guide, this is the solution. But I want you to know, this is not some stuffy, complicated manual, not at all. The best way to think about it is as a tool for building bridges. A bridge from the amazing work you do in non-formal education to the worlds of employment and formal schooling.
So what is it, really? Well, for starters, it's a practical framework, a structure that actually makes sense. It's also a toolbox full of resources you can start using right away. But really, its main job is to build that bridge so the value of what your learners achieve can travel with them.
And we have to be super clear about this, because it's probably the #1 concern out there. This guide is not trying to replace your unique learner-first approach. It's not here to turn your vibrant workshops into rigid, formal classes. It's simply about making the incredible work you're already doing easier to see and understand.
Okay, so how does it do that? The guide talks about a system called ECTS. Now I know, that acronym sounds a little intimidating, right? A little academic? But forget the name for a second. I want you to just think of it as creating a simple recipe card for each of your courses. That's a perfect way to put it. The official jargon says ECTS is all about making learning outcomes and processes transparent. But really, all that means is it's a shared way of describing what's in a course, so everybody's on the same page. It's just a common language for learning. So if we stick with that recipe card idea, it's actually pretty simple. Step 1 is your ingredients. Those are the learning outcomes, what people can actually do when they're finished. Step 2 is the effort, basically how much time it takes, the workload. Step 3 is the method, how learners prove they've learned it, the assessment. And it all comes together in Step 4, a clear, simple course descriptor, the final recipe card that anyone can understand. And I just love how the guide itself says this. It's about structuring and documenting what you do, not changing the heart and soul of how you teach. It's designed to celebrate the great work you're already doing, just in a way that more people can see and value. Okay, so that leads us to the biggest, most important question we hear. If I create this recipe card, if I align my course with this ECTS thing, does that suddenly mean I'm handing out formal university credits? This is the point we need to get across, and the answer is a simple, direct, and very clear no. Exactly. The key word here is alignment. Alignment is just the act of describing your course using these common ideas, like learning outcomes and workload. Think of it as a translation tool. It helps everyone else understand the value of your course, but it does not magically turn it into a formally accredited program.
So, if it doesn't give them formal credits, what's the big payoff? Well, this is where it gets really exciting. This is where all that invisible progress finally starts to get the recognition it deserves.
Let's look at the difference in the real world. So before, your learner gets a certificate that says Digital Skills Workshop. Okay, great, but what does that actually mean to an employer? Now look at the after. The certificate clearly states the learning outcomes, the level, the workload. Suddenly, the value goes from being vague to being crystal clear. And for your learners, that clarity is an absolute game changer. It helps them take the next step, whether it's another course or a job application. It gives them a huge confidence boost because their hard work now looks official. And it makes employers, colleges, and society as a whole really see and value the learning that happens outside of a traditional classroom. And if this all feels a little new, you're in good company. For a lot of the organizations that tested this whole approach, this structured way of talking about their courses was a totally new and really powerful way of doing things. It's a fresh way forward, and it's already making a huge impact. So we've talked about what this guide is and why it's so important. We've seen how it makes learning visible while protecting what makes non-formal education so special. The obvious next question is, where in the world do you start? And that is exactly where we're going in our next explainer.
We're going to dive right into the NFAE methodology, and we'll kick off with the most important first step, something that you, as educators, are already masters of: knowing your learners. We'll show you how to structure that incredible insight and build the foundation for everything else. We'll see you then.